very good morning to each one of you present here today. I, Aarti Daga, architect and academician and managing committee member of CDCP India, the Confederation of Digital Construction Practitioners, warmly welcome each one of you to the inaugural session of Digital Built India Virtual Extensions. I would like to quote Charles Darwin at this point of our juncture. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Marching towards the vision of Viksit Bharat, the Government of India has announced multiple reforms in particularly the infrastructure sector, which has received a whooping allocation of rupees 11.11 lakh crores, representing 3.4% of the GDP. The infrastructure sector in India is changing and developing and evolving with each passing day with a spectacular vision. And we know that digitalization is playing and will forever play an extremely vital and crucial role in this evolution. The Confederation of Digital Construction Practitioners India, CDCP India, is a national society and is community focused, vendor neutral, and not for profit organization that promotes adoption of technologies and processes. Building Smart International is a community focused organization which has global leadership in open BIM and interoperability areas. Building Smart India is a national initiative of CDCP India in collaboration with Building Smart International, which aims at promoting the use of open BIM standards and interoperability across the life cycle of any built environment. We, in our recent past, in December 2023, had our first annual event, Digital Built India 2023. This event was a vendor neutral event and it gave an opportunity to technology, services, academic and construction firms to present an open, collaborative and interoperable perspective on technology, people, process and implementation. We also launched the CDCP India's India strategy documents. We had on board the best international and national speakers to discuss digital twin technology, building information modeling, digital interoperability, infrastructure digitalization, standards, and many more topics with very interesting questions, answers, and discussions. Today, we take this opportunity to launch the inaugural session of Digital Built India virtual extensions. So we at CDCP India are extremely delighted to start this new initiative of CDCP, which is Digital Built India virtual extensions. Gati se pragati, progress with speed is the tagline of NCRTC, which highlights its vision, improve quality of life of people by providing equitable, fast, reliable, safe, comfortable, efficient, and sustainable mobility solutions enabling economic development of NCR, that's the National Capital Region. NCRTC, National Capital Region Transport, is a joint venture company of Government of India and states of Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh under the administrative control of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, is mandated for implementing the Regional Rapid Transit System RRTS project across the NCR of India. It ensures a balanced and sustainable urban development through better connectivity and access. Our speaker for today's inaugural session is Mr. Rishabh Gautam, AGM, Signaling and Telecom, National Capital Region Transport Corporation, New Delhi, India. Welcome, Mr. Rishabh. Mr. Rishabh has more than 13 years, almost 15 years of experience in metro and regional rapid transit systems. He has in-depth knowledge and experience working from inception of the project to the final commissioning. He holds expertise in designing, installation, testing, and commissioning of signaling and telecom systems, contract management, project management, and tendering work in metro, RRTS, rail projects across Delhi NCR. He is interested in the latest developments in the field of artificial intelligence, building information modeling, augmented reality, and virtual reality. We are extremely happy and delighted to have with us this morning Mr. Rishabh Gautam. Thank you, Mr. Rishabh, for accepting our invite and being the first speaker of Digital Built India virtual extensions. Thank you so much for being with us here. We will stop sharing the screen, and Mr. Rishabh, over to you, and request you to please take over the session and please help us understand in a better way how you have been instrumental in applying digital technology and BIM implementation in the project you're handling. Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to Digital Built India virtual extensions. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for inviting me as a guest speaker for the opening session. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining, and I'll just directly dive into the session at hand. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir. You just need to make it full screen. I think then we'll be in good space.
Yeah, my
sure.
PC is slightly slow today. Yeah.
No problem, sir.
Perfect. I think this is full screen. Let's begin.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So good morning, everyone. I'm Rishabh Gautam, Additional General Manager, Signaling and Telecom, and thank you, Ms. Aarti, for that wonderful introduction. Again, the topic today that I'll be covering is BIM implementation on railway projects by NCRTC. We have given this presentation many times. There are various versions of this presentation. We have done a full day seminar on BIM implementation in NCRTC. So this is the first time we'll try and the second time actually we'll be trying and compressing all this information in a 30-minute capsule session. There's a lot to cover, but I'll try and keep my focus on the very key important aspects of the BIM implementation in NCRTC. So I'll give a quick introduction to the NCRTC RRTS project, Namo Bharat, which was inaugurated on 20th October 2023 by Honorable Prime Minister of India. What the company does, how it's different from a typical metro project, and then we'll give an overview of the BIM workflow that we follow. What exactly do we mean by BIM implementation when we talk about BIM in NCRTC? What is the current status of BIM implementation in NCRTC? And what was the different approaches adopted by NCRTC for a successful implementation? How we actually developed internal capacity within the organization. And then we'll, apart from what we achieved in BIM, how we actually took it to the next level in the form of augmented reality and virtual reality. We'll also be talking about that. So RRTS, or Regional Rapid Transit System. So at national level, for large distances, you have national railways, Indian Railways, right? Or you have airlines. At city level, you have metros, buses, and BRTS corridors available. But what RRTS or NCRTC is trying to capture is regional connectivity, where we are trying to connect Delhi with the suburban cities in and around Delhi. So this is a high-speed, semi-high-speed train transport system for interstate travel. So what we're trying to do is, there have been 8 identified corridors connecting Delhi with the satellite towns in around Delhi. And in phase 1, we have prioritized 3 corridors. I'll just put my pointer in laser up. So there are 3 prioritized corridors: Delhi Meerut corridor, Delhi Alwar corridor, and the Delhi Panipat corridor. So in 2019, 8th March 2019, the foundation stone was laid for the Delhi Meerut corridor. Work has already begun, and the first 17 kilometers from Sahibabad to Doha is already operational for the Delhi Meerut corridor. And soon, in a couple of weeks, we'll be opening the sections till Meerut South. So the work is already ongoing, and the remaining corridors are awaiting approval from the central government. The key characteristics of this project are: the Delhi Meerut corridor is 82.15 kilometers in length. The estimated travel time is 60 kmph, and the total number of stations is 25. Another interesting aspect of the Delhi Meerut corridor was that along the Delhi Meerut RRTS corridor, there was a parallel metro track, and we suggested to the government that we'll subsume the metro track within the RRTS track. So this is for the very first time in India that both metro trains and regional rapid trains will run on the same track on the same infrastructure, and due to which we were able to save the government approximately 6,000 crores by incorporating the metro on the same civil infrastructure. So the Delhi Panipat corridor is approximately 103 kilometers with an estimated travel time of 70 minutes. And the Delhi SNB corridor is 106 kilometers with an approximate travel time of 65 minutes. The total number of stations on the Delhi Meerut corridor seems a little high because it also includes the metro stations on the Delhi Meerut corridor. The key differentiating factors of RRTS vis-a-vis the metro system is whereas a typical metro like Delhi Metro is designed for 80 to 90 kmph of travel, the average speed, including stoppages, is approximately 35 kmph. And our RRTS system is designed for 180 kmph, and the operational speed is 160 kmph. So our average speed is actually greater than 100 kmph end to end for the end-to-end journey. And this is what differentiates us. So whereas while you're traveling in a metro, let's say from central Delhi to Gurgaon or central Delhi to Noida, you would approximately spend 40 minutes, 50 minutes on that journey. In the same amount of time, you'll be able to travel from Delhi to Meerut or Delhi to Alwar or Delhi to Panipat because of the higher speed. Apart from that, our signaling system is interoperable, which means that the same train can run from the Delhi Meerut corridor and can also run on the Delhi SNB corridor and the Delhi Alwar corridor. But this is just a very generic overview of the RRTS project. I'll just directly dive into what we did in terms of BIM implementation. So I'm assuming everyone is already up to date with what BIM is. So I would not be going into the very basics of BIM. So this is just a very basic slide of which tells us what are the various stages of a BIM workflow. So right from conceptual design, you have detailed design, then you can do analysis. You have to have a powerful accommodator environment. And then you go into construction, logistics, and then finally you go to operation and maintenance. So this is a typical workflow of any BIM project. So what do we mean when we say BIM implementation in NCRTC? Right. So BIM, as everyone knows, is not a dumb 3D model. It's a 3D model which has embedded metadata information in it. It's a shared information model. Right. And in NCRTC, from the very beginning, so I joined NCRTC in 2017. The company was formulated in 2016. So right from the very inception, we were very clear that we wanted to adopt BIM processes from the very beginning. And we identified what areas of BIM we wanted to focus upon. There are various dimensions of BIM. I've not talked about those, but you have 3D, 4D, 5D, up to 7D. And I'm very proud to say that we have implemented all 7 dimensions of BIM in NCRTC. So we identified what are the key aspects of BIM we want to focus on. And then I'll just give you a very brief glimpse of what we have achieved and then talk about how we achieved it. So we already have all elements, including civil and systems, modeled as a smart, intelligent 3D models. We have also implemented 4D BIM in NCRTC. And that too, first we were using an industry tool called Synchro. Now we have developed this technology within our common data environment itself. So now we can visualize 4D simulations within the browser itself. So just a small video. Sorry. So you can see we have what we did was we linked all the Primavera schedules that were supplied with by our contractors with a 3D model. as we are all aware of how 4D BIM works. And now we are able to visualize the construction sequence, how it would take place. Now, typically how 4D BIM helps us is in a typical Primavera schedule when it is submitted, it is very difficult to find out what the problems are, if there are any inaccuracies. But when it is represented as a 3D model, when it's linked with all the 3D models, so we can actually visualize the construction sequence and we can identify faults very easily. So if somebody is casting a slab well before the columns are erected, we'll be able to visually identify it and tell them. So from a very layman perspective, people who do not have much experience with using Primavera, even they will be able to visualize what construction sequencing has been submitted and is it as per our target dates and key dates which have been given to the contractor. We have also implemented 5D BIM in NCRTC, wherein we are able to do quantity takeoffs and derive costs right from the BIM model in the project. Another key advantage of being early adopters of BIM in NCRTC was uh, when the project was initially launched in 2019. Soon after that, in 2020 March, COVID struck the world, and everyone was actually confined to their homes. But since NCRTC was on the BIM platform and we had a very robust commodity environment, we were able to work from home. Majority of our teams were able to work from home. Only the very essential people were required at site. Rest were working from home on the cloud, and we were able to approve all designs in time. So we can say that the impact of COVID on this project was very negligible. So what you see here is our Saibabad station, which was completely designed and approved during the COVID period, even before the construction began. And because of this level of detailing that we were able to do and its integration with our GIS platform, we were able to accurately identify which utilities needed to be shifted, electrical utilities or gas utilities. So we were able to align our tasks more accurately. We were able to optimize our costs in a more appropriate way because of adopting BIM processes from the very beginning of the project. As I said, right from the inception stage, we were clear that we wanted to adopt BIM processes, and that what it meant was that there will be no 2D drafting in our project. So right from the concept design stage, every station, every drawing is a 3D model, and all drawings are extracted from the BIM model and issued to the contractor for execution. So right from the very basic concept notes to the good for construction drawings, everything is extracted automatically from our BIM models in NCRTC. So this is a slide where we are showing the GFC extraction. All the scheduled quantities are also extracted automatically from the BIM model. So this is how we typically submit our drawings. We submit a cross section, a 3D view, a long section, cross sections, everything. And since everything is available as a single source of truth on a common data environment, if there's any change in the drawing, it is automatically notified to all the designated stakeholders, and they're able to update their drawing database as well. Another unique feature that we have implemented in NCRTC is that we have implemented a QR code at the bottom of every drawing. What that enables is once the drawing is printed and the people at site are working using that drawing, they can just scan the QR code and the app just tells them if this is the latest version of the drawing that they're working on or not. Hence, we can actually avoid any discrepancies or problems at site later on. So people at site are always aware if there's a newer version available or not. Just another slide to show how bill of quantities are extracted from the BIM model. Now, the tool that we use for BIM implementation is not important, but it is important to have uniformity across the project. So while we began this project, we identified a few software that we wanted all our contractors to work on. But we also mandated that all BIM models will be shared in IFC format as well. Apart from the proprietary format, All BIM models are also shared in IFC format, and our common data environment is able to read these IFC files, so that most of the people who just need to visualize these models and do commenting and annotation on these models can do it without the use of those proprietary costly tools. We also did, as you are all aware, coordination of different services is very easy on BIM, and we were able to extract the advantages of that uh, during the design phase before the actual construction began, and we were able to identify a lot of clashes that could have happened at site and avoid them. So this is the level of detailing we were able to achieve well before the construction began. So you can see every small minute details, the track slab, the trains, the platform screen doors, the electrical booms, all lighting structures, everything was modeled in depth, in detail before the actual construction began. And all system contractors, designers were updating the same original source file. And they were able to coordinate remotely also to make these drawings successful and accurate before the construction began. This is just an example of how we were able to identify a few clashes at site, how the cable trays were going into beams, how the track slab and the beam stacks were colliding. Just a few examples of these that we have tried to capture here. And finally, I'm going to talk about asset management, which plays a very important role. And what we like to tell time and time again during the presentations that we give, that specifically for NCRTC, this is approximately a $5 billion project, right? And the construction phase of the project is only a couple of years, from 4 to 6 years. That's the construction phase of the project. And BIM has a lot of advantages during the construction phase of the project. We can save a lot of time. We can also do a lot of cost savings during the construction phase of the project using BIM processes. We can make save on a lot of design changes which come on later. But the majority of the rich information that we are able to capture during the construction phase of the project, intended to use that for the asset maintenance phase as well. So the construction phase of the project is only for 4 to 6 years, but the asset has to be maintained for the next 50, 60 years. How do we utilize all that rich information that we have captured during the construction phase of the project during the asset maintenance? And that's what the seventh dimension of BIM focuses on. That's the 7D. So early on in the project, and we decided that all this information has to be transmitted to our AMS system, whatever AMS system we finally decide upon. And then we wanted to pass all this information, all this asset information to our operator. Now the government has started pushing for private operators. So it becomes even more important for large infrastructure projects to capture this information and pass it on to the operators in a clean and efficient format, so that they are also able to utilize the maximum benefit out of it. There's no point in handing them thousands and thousands of documents or digital documents mindlessly, which they have to manually scroll through or search through. If they are able to utilize IoT sensors and these digital twin models to accurately identify the faults in the system and help make the operator's life easier. That's a very small investment during the construction phase of the project, which gives huge benefits during the asset maintenance phase. So that's about the different dimensions of BIM and how we have implemented that in NCRTC. So I wanted to give a brief overview of what we have already achieved, so that it becomes more relevant to understand. Yes, we are not just talking hypothetical here in NCRTC. We have already achieved a lot, and we are constantly evolving and learning from what we have implemented. But how we intend to take it forward. So I'll just talk about the current status of BIM in NCRTC. As I've been saying throughout the presentation, we have already adopted BIM from the very beginning of the project. Now, early on, back in 2018 and 19, a lot of DDCs and contractors came to us and said that we are aiming too high. The industry is not mature enough for this level of adoption. That what we expect out of BIM might lead to failure, right? And that the industry is probably today in 2018 or 19 is not ready. So we started analyzing different BIM implementations across India. So we visited a couple of projects which were adopting BIM, and we learned from their mistake. We saw what was good in those projects and probably what would not work best in NCRTC. And those learnings actually helped us understand this implementation of BIM works, and this implementation of, or this format of implementation is probably not suitable for NCRTC. So based on those reports, we identified that in order to make BIM successful in NCRTC, it has to be contractually mandated that all our contractors, designers, are bound to adopt BIM processes. It cannot be a weak set of clauses. It has to be set in stone. So we created a few annexures for BIM implementation, and those BIM implementation annexures are part of each and every contract in NCRTC, be it a civil contract, design contract, or a systems contract. So it is mandated through contract. Now, apart from that, what we did was early on in the project in 2018-19 is that we started creating our own BIM EIR, or Employees Information Requirement. Now, as you're all aware, BIM EIR details out exactly what we mean when we say we want BIM implemented in NCRTC. What do I mean when I say I want a 3D model of LOD 500, LOD 300, LOD 250, 350? So we detailed out everything for all verticals in NCRTC. So what did we mean when we said we wanted a BIM model for civil? What we mean when we say we wanted a BIM model for NCRTC systems contracts, be it signaling, electrical, BMS. We detailed out and all those things in great depth in a 55 page document. So apart from the contractual conditions, we also made our EIR part of all contracts, so that the contractors are not left guessing that they've just written they want BIM implemented. They're well aware of exactly what NCRTC means when they say they want BIM implemented. So this is the level of work they are expecting us to do. This we clearly identified in our BIM EIR. And we also realized from our visits to other projects that we really required a robust common data environment, which can really enable employees to use this BIM technology, BIM processes, and make their life easier and not difficult. Some of the projects that we visited, we realized that the people were not actually logging into their accounts at all. They were passing on this responsibility to the subordinates, and people were just my juniors were doing all the approvals or downloading the models or visualizing the model. We realized that probably the tool is not more easy or convenient to use, hence people are not adopting it. So when we started procuring a common data environment, we ensured that it's very easy to use for all level of people. Some people have a different level of expertise when they're when they're using BIM tools. Some people find it very easy to use. Some people find it very tough to use. But we wanted to have a tool which has a very user-friendly interface and which is powerful enough. And when we realized that in order to make BIM project or BIM implementation in NCRT successful, it is very critical that everyone is on the same platform. So different companies have different document management systems or different common data environments that they're comfortable in. But for us to make NCRTC BIM implementation successful, it was essential that all our contractors, right from the grassroots level to the site surveyors, everyone has to be on our platform. Hence, we provided the licenses for our common data environment to all system contractors, all our civil contractors free of cost. So everyone in NCRTC and all our other stakeholders, we provide them the licenses for our common data environment. And this, I think, was a very critical decision that we took, which helped in making this BIM implementation successful. Another important decision that we took, since there are only a handful of limited people who actually do design, model authoring and model designing, rest are just consumers of this information. We wanted a common data environment which can actually enable people to visualize these models, do commenting and annotation on these models right from the system. right from the browser itself. So that would actually reduce the cost of BIM implementation as well. We do not need to give each and every employer these costly BIM tools or these costly BIM software collections that are floating in the market. Right, they cost from a couple of lakhs, and the systems also cost a couple of lakhs. So that cost was reduced. Since our common data environment allows us to visualize, comment, and annotate on these models right on the browser itself, people can do it on low-end laptops, even tablets and phones. So again, having a very robust and good common data environment help us achieve that. And right now, in NCRTC, we're transitioning from the project delivery phase to the asset maintenance phase. Since 17-kilometer stretch is already operational for NCRTC, we are really happy to say that we have started exchanging information through very mature COBie files and COBie formats from our BIM models to our asset management software, which is IBM Maximo in our case. And we are in the process of sharing live system status information with the AMS system as well. So all the information has been captured, and we soon will have the live information of health and status being passed on from our systems to our asset management tool in real time. And that too will be a first implementation in India if, when we are able to achieve it. So again, this I've already covered, and just explaining it through the slides again. So the construction stage benefits are improved design management and enhanced collaboration among teams. Right, we can simulate different scenarios while even before the construction begins. So we did utilize BIM for simulating how passenger evacuation takes place at stations. There's a specific slide on it, but due to the paucity of time, we have not included those slides here. But we did very detailed analysis on passenger evacuation and how the station, the width of the staircase, the number of lifts and escalators, how they can accommodate that sudden influx of passengers who are trying to rush out of the station. And that simulation helped us take very knowledge and reasoned decisions about station design. But as I said, this asset life during the construction phase is very small, and during the O&M phase is very big. So what we try to focus on again is BIM is not limited to the benefits in the construction stage. Its multifold value actually comes along the O&M phase in the asset life cycle. So in order to make BIM implementation successful and to avoid the mistakes other projects were making, we understood that BIM has to be a company-wide initiative. There cannot be a specific team which focuses on BIM implementation in NCRTC. That way of implementation will only alienate and isolate those people, because most of the people will keep on avoiding responsibilities. So what we did was we identified BIM champions from each and every vertical in the organization. And very early on in the project in 2018, we started training those BIM champions on BIM processes and BIM tools. And then it was the responsibility of these BIM champions within the organization to spread the message and knowledge of BIM in their respective teams. So we took a handful of people from track, we took a handful of people from civil, from signaling, from electrical, from escalator, lifts, all departments. We took people, we trained them on BIM, and it was their responsibility to get their teams working with them to also adopt BIM. That way, nobody was able to say that BIM is this person's responsibility or BIM is that department's responsibility. BIM is a common initiative across NCRTC, and we all take ownership of a successful BIM implementation in NCRTC. The second point for a successful BIM adoption was procuring a very robust and powerful common data environment and providing free access to everyone. Third, as I've already said, is creation of a detailed EIR and BIM templates. Yeah, I forgot to talk about the BIM templates. So along with the employees information requirement, we also created BIM templates and standards within NCRTC. And these BIM templates and standards are also part of our contract. So people know what format and what level of detailing they have to do in terms of BIM standards, so that let's talk about Sistra, Aisha. When different contractors or DDC start submitting their drawings, they're at the same level at least. So different companies have different maturities of, or different teams within the same company have different maturities of BIM, right? But when we give them templates and BIM standards to follow, no matter who the contractor is, the level of drawing is almost equal. Then mandating BIM through contracts, that was very important. That's the fourth point that we're highlighting here. And we also mandated that all submissions, no excuses were taken from day one, have to be on the BIM platform, have to be through our common data environment, and have to be in term. All 2D drawings have to be linked with a 3D model, have to be extracted out of a 3D model. And we took no excuses for this. There's no contractor who was given any leeway or any liberty in this respect. We have been very strict with all our contractors across the vertical. And all interface and coordination always happen on our BIM enabled common data environment. We have weekly meetings at deputy level. We have monthly meetings at higher management level, and they all are done on the BIM environment where the model is shown, the drawings are discussed, the 3D model is discussed, and our minutes are captured within our common data environment, which is always on the cloud, circulated to everyone instantly. And then for asset management, we adopted ISO 19650, and we started creating Kobe formats very early on, so that when the time for ROD comes, we are ready with our Kobe files, and we can actually start exchanging information from our BIM models to our AMS model. So what this diagram shows here is very important. The tools play a very small role in making a BIM implementation successful. You can have any software tool or family of software tools for BIM implementation. You can have a good common data environment as well. But to really make this BIM implementation successful, it has to be a top-driven approach. If the higher management puts their foot down, it becomes very easy to drive this project. Simultaneously, it has to be a bottom-up involvement. Right from the grassroots level, the people have to really embrace this BIM initiative. And this can only be done through repetitive training and repetitive, team building exercises, so that everyone doesn't feel alienated when this new technology comes into the project. And we should actually stop saying it's a new technology. It has been in the industry for decades. It's only that its percolation or penetration into this industry has been very slow. And then top-driven, bottom-up involvement, contractual mandates are very essential, very critical. And this work culture push that I've been talking about, this plays a more important role in making a BIM implementation successful within the organization. And this is what we have personally experienced and feel. So just as a screenshot of us nominating BIM champions, like we nominated 20 BIM champions, there were only probably 50 people, and we nominated 20 as BIM champions so that we can start building this internal capacity within NCRTC. So you can see they were from all the departments, all our site offices, everyone was involved in this push. This is a screenshot of our BIM goals and objectives that we captured in our EIR. So I'm just, so what I've talked in theory, I'm just showing you a snapshot of what it actually was. So what was the use, who was responsible for doing that activity? Everything was captured here. So everyone, when they read this document, they knew that during the concept design stage, what they're supposed to do, when the preliminary design stage, what they're supposed to do, right to operations, handover and operations, what was the different objectives that were needed to be achieved by a BIM model. So what level of maturity they needed to take this model up to. So by reading these documents, our DDC, detailed design consultants, were aware of what was expected out of them. Our contractors were aware of how they were supposed to update the model once it was handed over by the DDCs, and what level of maturity they needed to take it up to. So this is a screenshot of the EIR that was created in NCRTC, and it's part of all our documents. And the CAD and BIM standards again, which are again part of the. So as you see from the half-cut stamps here, that these are formal documents which are made part of all contracts now. And they were drafted back in 2019 when the project was initially greenlit. Again, some other contract clauses like training, we made it very clear. So some of the contractors or consultants try to say that who will train these employees. The fact is, most of the Western countries, when they start implementing BIM projects, half the work is outsourced to India. So we made it very evident and clear. NCRTC is not responsible for providing training with regards to any BIM-based software application being used by the consultants or contractors for the supply chain. Right. It's requirement that the individual parties are fully trained over BIM tools prior to project management. So we identified the excuses we expected these companies to make. So you have to think from our perspective. We are the clients. We are the infrastructure managers. It's our responsibility to make this project successful. And we had to identify potential roadblocks and kill them before, or nip it in the bud before it actually blossomed into a full-blown argument. And then we also mandated that we'll be providing them a common data environment free of cost, but they have to mandatorily adopt our common data environment. They cannot say that I'm not comfortable working on this CD. I will bring my own CD. That was not allowed. So I think this is a small video. So yeah, again, this is I think a screenshot of how this is a screenshot of the browser and how on the browser we are able to load a full 1 GB 500 MB 3D model, browse through it, and navigate through it on the browser itself without using any of those costly, heavy authoring tools or using a high-end workstation. I think that this is the video. Yeah. So this is a typical workflow of how we use this browser-based common data environment, which in our case is Wrench, which is a Make in India software. And we have not accelerated this video at any stage. This is typically how the model, once you click on it, opens and loads, and how you are able to browse through it. So we are just giving you this small demo just to drive home this point that the technology is not a limiting factor right now. So if anyone says that the technology is not mature enough to do this BIM implementation or do BIM implementation on a large infrastructure project of this scale, you can see it right now. It's all being done on a browser. And all system contractors, the platform screen doors are loaded, the CCTV cameras are loaded. Every element is loaded by individual contractors on the original file created by the DDC. So everyone is collaboratively working on the same 3D file and updating their part of it. Everyone takes care of their part. They coordinate the model together. If there are any problems, we have BIM model coordinators who assist people. So their job is only to help them identify if their team is running across the problem. We have a few people who are trained on that, but we do not take the ownership of aligning the two models or joining the two models or federating the BIM models together. We don't do that. So again, just to help you appreciate the level of detailing that went into the models and the level of maturity that we have achieved with the BIM models. I'll just skip this part now. Another key factor for successful BIM implementation is the timely onboarding of the AMS and O&M contractor. See, till the time the operator is onboarded, he comes with his own set of understanding of this is the information which is vital to me. Right? This is information which I require. We, being a project team, probably have a different mindset, and you require the operator's mindset to understand. Probably I am passing on to him 50 parameters, right? But he required something different. His requirement of 25 parameters is not captured in the 50 parameters that I'm passing on to him. So when he is onboarded on time, if he's onboarded before the ROD, he can actually tell the contractor team, the system contractors and the civil contractors, maybe modify your Kobe file in certain format, maybe try and add all this information before you pass it on to me. And this was done and actually made our life more easier, because since both were able to jointly agree upon the information exchange, we did not find any infighting now that I am not getting sufficient information or sufficient information is not being passed on to me. So that really helps make this successful BIM implementation project successful. So this is just a slide to show you how BIM implementation takes place. So the BIM database is for civil, signaling, telecom, PSD. There's from a complex railway project, there are thousands of subsystems which have to be incorporated. Well, within systems, there are subsystems which have to be captured. So BIM actually helps us create a structured database for all this. We adopted uniclass naming convention for all our assets so that they are accurately identified within the AMS system as well. And then through Kobe and ISO 19650, we are able to capture all this information and then pass it on to our AMS system. So the first was identify what data needs to be captured, structure it within the BIM, give it name so that both systems, when they talk, they're talking on the same language. That's very important. That's what uniclass helps us do. And then capture all the information in Kobe and pass it on to our AMS system. I'll skip this slide. You probably have seen these kind of slides many times. But if I wanted to talk about for like 10-15 seconds, it's very important that we get a government mandate. UK, Germany, France, for them, BIM implementation across large infrastructure projects is mandatory, right? We need a similar push in India. We should have policies which mandate every project, let's say 500 crores or 1,000 crores should be on the BIM platform, because this is not just our information or our data. The billions of dollars are being spent on by the government, right? And there should be a central repository of all this data with the government or with a central agency so that they can take more informed decisions, that higher upper management or that ministerial level management can actually take those informed decisions based on this kind of data. Now, having talked about BIM implementation in NCRTC, I would like to shift focus from just BIM implementation and talk about something more advanced. So since we were adopting BIM right from the inception stage, and everyone was providing us with all this rich 3D models and all this metadata along with it, we identified a couple of other avenues that we wanted to focus upon, namely augmented reality, virtual reality, and 3D printing. And we wanted to see that how we can actually utilize these technologies for making our life easier during the construction phase of the project, as well as during asset maintenance phase of the project. Right. So if I start taking BIM as a baseline, what else can I achieve? Right. So what we feel is that the industry should not focus upon how BIM will be implemented, if BIM implementation will be successful or not. We should take BIM for granted now. The industry is mature enough, provided we do the hard work at the right time during the construction, during the initial stage of the project. BIM can be successful, can be made successful, and then what else can we achieve from the information that we have captured? So we created a pyramid, which is a center for excellence in NCRTC. And please let me know if I'm running over the time. If there's any right, I think it's already 10:55. I'll just quickly try and summarize all this.
No problem, sir. You can take a few more minutes, sure.
Okay. So I'll just play this video. This is how we utilize augmented reality for on-site visualizations here. So we are wearing an augmented headset called HoloLens 2. This can be done on your phone or tablet as well. So this is our Sahibabad Guldar station during construction. Now we can actually load in information layer by layer and see if all this work is being done as per drawings or not. So I can use this for on-site visualization as well as factoring in like if the work is as per my requirement or not. So I can do, if the drawing mandated two cutouts, have two cutouts been provided or not. If there were three ACs to be provided in the room, just by visualizing, I can see, okay, these are the locations where three ACs ducts were to be provided, but probably the contractor just given me two. I can do as-built validation as well, on-site visualization and as-built validation. So what you are visualizing here right now is how many columns are supposed to be erected, where the cable trays are supposed to be, where the cable runners are supposed to run. All that can be visualized and then cross-checked at site. So I can visualize things before they are constructed, and then once they're constructed, I can visually verify if it is as per the drawing or not. So as an example, so once the platform was created and the station was ready, we were able to visualize that the contractor was supposed to give us 6 cable trays or 7 cable trays. I can now visualize if those cable trays have been provided or not. Now I can actually visualize services which are hidden above the false floor, false ceiling, or beneath the false floor as well. Now you can imagine how we can use this information for targeted maintenance instead of removing every tile to find where the cable tray was or going through a manual 2D drawing. I can just wear a headset and identify where the cable trays are running. I can, from this 10 number of cable trays, I can just say, just show me the signaling cable tray and follow it. So I can correctly identify the route. This is the platform screen doors, and then just checking them against. So we can see if all the doors are correctly aligned as per the drawing or not. Just a very, very simple visual check. So these are different layers that we can just select. So now we are just checking lighting boom. So you can see even the tube lights are aligned. And whatever little offset you see right now, it's a parallax error while recording from the headset. So when the person is actually wearing the headset or using on the phone, they don't see this inaccuracy, which is there in the video which is being recorded due to the parallax error. So again, I'll just skip. Again, how do we use all this information from system contractors that we have captured for maintenance? So this is a small maintenance demo that we built for IRS point machine. And again, I'm just feeling the pinch here because I can't see that manual scroll button. Otherwise, I'll just forward it to the good portions of the video. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, I can see it now. This is the very important part that I like to show whenever we give this demo. Yeah. Like imagine doing maintenance. Since you have already captured all the asset maintenance manuals and everything, right on the headset, we can actually download. So by scanning the QR code, we know which asset we are talking about. Now I can download its maintenance manual in real time while doing maintenance. Since all this information was captured in my BIM model, then passed on through Kobe into my AMS system while doing maintenance now, I can scan the QR code, get its information, and continue doing maintenance. If I forgot a few steps, I forgot what was supposed to be opened or what is the sequence that I need to follow. These tools can enable it. What we're trying to just showcase here is the technology is mature enough now. Probably a couple of years, it will percolate to the level wherein, if you imagine in 1990s, there was the Nokia phone, which was very costly and only a select few have it. Now everyone has an Android phone or an iPhone. Maybe a couple of years, everyone will have these AR devices. Now, if the organization hasn't captured all this information in 3D by adopting BIM, they would not be able to utilize this technology which is available. So this is what I'm trying to show here, right? If you're able to correctly identify the use cases and start capturing information in 3D, adopt the BIM process from the very beginning, these are the use cases that we can actually end up implementing in future. Another video of doing training. This is Aparamit, a video we shot in our lab only. So this is the actual train radio control panel. So I'll just show you again. Yeah, you place the equipment. So now you can actually see the actual train radio control panel, which is installed in our trains. Yeah, and then you can dismantle it and it gives you component level detail because we mandated our system contractors to also give us component level details. So this is up to you, right? This is the level of detailing you have to do in your EIR, in your documents, that do I want to capture this information or not? This is very important. And then once it's available, it's up to you how you utilize it. And then 3D printing was another low-hanging fruit. Since we already had the 3D models available, getting a good industry 3D printer, we were able to create miniature models of our viaduct, of our columns, of our stations using the 3D printer. And since it's a very large volume 3D printer of 1 cubic meter, we can actually replace plastic components which break down and 3D print them and replace them at site. I'll just like to take a moment to show you something. Just 1 second. Yeah. So the work that we did in NCRTC, the ministry took notice, and even the Prime Minister's office took notice of the work that we have done in NCRTC. And it finally culminated during the inauguration. Our Honorable Prime Minister was interested in seeing the work we have done. And we were able to showcase, like this, what you see on the left is the BIM simulations for platform evacuation. And what we are showcasing to our Honorable Prime Minister and even to Chief Minister of Yogi Adityanath, which is not there in the video, we showed it later to Sir as well. This is what we showed to our Honorable Prime Minister there. So how maintenance teams can actually use this information during an actual live project now. Again, Cecil, I'll skip this now. So I'm open to any questions. I'll stop presenting. I hope this was of some use to everyone attending.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Rishabh. Technology is no longer a limit. Technology is no longer a limitation. We're matured enough to take this forward in a very, very interesting way. I think, Mr. Rishabh, thank you for giving such a crisp overview of BIM implementation in the NCRTC project. I think it's clearly. Okay.
So sorry.
No problem, no problem. I think it clearly showcases that the team at NCRTC has pushed and continues to push boundaries of innovation and build the smart infrastructure India envisions and needs. So this will surely help the future infrastructure projects, and I think NCRTC has curated a path for many others. At this note, I would like to open the floor for question answers. We have quite a few questions in the Q&A section and some in the chat. Keeping in mind the time constraints, we may have to skip a few, but we'll try to address the most. I'm sure Mr. Rishabh will do good justice to the same. So taking the first question from Mr. Fazil. Mr. Rishabh, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, sure. So so the question from Mr. Fazil is that how BIM data is shared / used on site, how site people can make use of BIM implementation.
Can you repeat the question again? So sorry.
Yeah, no problem, sir. It's from Mr. Fazil, and it says how BIM data is shared or used on site. How site people can make use of BIM.
So as I said, all information, be it contractual documents, letters, everything is captured in a common data environment, right? Along with all the BIM models. And we have provided common data environment licenses to everyone in the organization. So even the field people, right, from our JEs, our maintainers, everyone has a common data environment license. And based on their vertical, they're given full access or limited access to a set of drawings or documents on the common data environment. Right now, yeah, based on that level of access, they can access the model, they can access the drawings which are created from the model, they can upload, like from a civil perspective, they can directly upload the measurement books onto the common data environment right at site. They click photos with GPS coordinates, those are also updated. So and then linked with the construction project and the construction progress as well. So everything is done. I hope that answers the question. Like people have access to it, and it,
Yeah,
we promote use of BIM
absolutely.
at
Thank
all
you,
levels.
sir. Yeah. So we'll take the next question. It's from Mr. Saluja or Mr. Nitesh Saluja. He says, how energy analysis, that is 6D, BIM is implemented in this project.
Yeah. So specifically on sustainability, this was left. See, we did not build internal capacity for doing this because this was a very niche work, right? Uh, Doing sustainability analysis of heat calculations, electrical calculations, uh, sustainable design. Although I would like to say that we have those IGB green building certifications for stations, but these were done at our DDC level and then provided to us. So within NCRTC, we did not do it in-house. But yes, we have implemented 60 across the project for some specific use cases, but done by our contractors, not within NCRTC, because these are very niche areas and generating this internal capacity for this uh, did not make sense at that very initial stage of the project. Maybe for
Absolutely
future
agreed.
projects, we
I'm
would like to do
sure.
that.
Yeah, I'm sure. We are all looking at it from from the sustainable angle, and I think the government and people are getting very conscious in this direction. So I'm sure it has been looked into thorough detail, but by another department. We have the next question, Mr. Rishabh, from Mr. Sarat. He says, how was the integration of design modifications managed within the project, considering the presence of detailed design consultants and contractors? I'll just repeat this once if you want.
Yeah, if I understand the question correctly, so see, the DDC will create a model till GFC stage, right? He'll take it to up to LOD 300, 350. Then it's the job of the contractor to implement that LOD 350 model and the drawings extracted from it for construction. Now at site, during construction, you face some challenges, some problems. You make some modifications. Those modifications are then done by the contractor. It's not now the responsibility of the DDC to do those changes. It's the contractor who starts authoring the model and make that model which was uploaded by the DDC, mature it and make it LOD 500 now. Does that answer the question? So both have their clear-cut defined roles and objectives. The DDC will take this model and make it mature up to LOD 300, 350, and then the contractor takes over and then starts working and authoring on that model.
Right, so thank you so much. We have lots of questions, but I will respect time and we'll just take a few more. So there is one question from Mr. Rahul Joshi. He says, how did we measure total cost saving after the BIM implementation?
Yeah, again, that's a white paper in the making right now. How much paper we saved, how much cost we saved, how much time we saved. We'll
Right.
save that question for another time. That's
Absolutely.
yeah.
I get
As
it.
a company, also we would like to only showcase and tell people the very authenticate and validated data, and we would like to also showcase all this proudly so through a white paper that we publish soon. But
Great, great. I think I'm
probably
sure
not
you all
today.
I'm sure it's going to be brilliant, and then numbers will surprise most of the people who are going to see and come to know of it. So, just a quick one or two liner questions. We have Mr. Swaraj Dutt Gupta, who is asking us, also the president of CDCP, who also asks a very crisp questions. Are the 2D drawings issued to site in print form at any stage of the project, or it's all digital?
So good morning. I've known Swaraj sir for a very long time. Like,
Okay.
so, yes, sir. But yes, finally, as I said, the final good for construction drawings are issued in print format at site because site pay, sir, on a tablet of a 10-inch tablet, drawing visualization is still not practicable. And as I told you in the presentation, as I told everyone in the presentation, there's a small QR code at the bottom of the drawing, right? So somebody sees a drawing, and let's say it's of March 2022. He can just scan the QR code and he'll get a validation if it's still the most updated print drawing available in the for that particular section or not. Right. So finally, drawings are printed for site. The GFC drawings are printed. It's not fully digital, but then again, we keep a check if no old drawings are being circulated or being used through QR code.
Okay, I think so. We have a lot of questions, but with respect to time, I think we will try to curtail it. I request everyone who's listening to us, you can mail us the questions and we will get back to you with the answers. I'm sure Mr. Rishabh will be able to answer most of them, in fact, all of them with his kind of experience. So I think we will stop taking the questions. We have a few things to tell all of you present here and attending the session. Pradnya, can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so Digital Built India virtual extension has been our new launch. So it's a very interesting thing because we want to really propagate this idea, which Mr. Rishabh also emphasized, that technology is no longer a limitation and we really need to take forward. And the further we reach, I think we will do good to the people in our country and globally also. So we have our upcoming events, which are the few to name right now, that how an EPC contractor adopted digital technology in planning and execution. And the next one is going to talk about digital twin of statue. We are also looking at an AECO, that is the Architecture, Engineering, Construction and Operations Open Mic, Indian Community Connect in the near future. So with this, on the next slide, we would like to present to you the few things which talk about our outreach to people and our growth so that we can help everyone in the community furthermore. So we have a corporate membership and an individual membership, which the QR codes are seen on your screen. You can scan them and we will definitely encourage you to please go forward and become members so that we all together can contribute to our initiative of BIM implementation and digitalization and standardization and mandating the same across our country. So there are some benefits which you can read on the screen and we will definitely like to project them on our website also. So I think that with that we come to the end of our session. We've had a brilliant session with you, sir, and we will definitely look forward to many more conversations with you. Thank you so much, each one of you present here. It's been our first initiative under the virtual extension of Digital Built India. And thank you, Mr. Rishabh, for spending your valuable time with us and sharing your knowledge and experience about how BIM implementation is being incorporated and taken forward so diligently and so detailed at NCRTC, and drawing out the path for many more projects and for us in the future projects. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for
And thank you.
inviting me.
Looking
Thank you.
forward.